I want to thank all of my patrons for all the support. You guys rock. I do have a Patreon, so if you like what I do and you want to help support me, you can do so with Patreon. I'll link it in the video description. For just $1 a month, you can get early access to all of my videos, and they'll be ad-free during the early access period. If you're not able to, you can still support the channel by clicking the like button or subscribing, which will also help you know when a new video comes out. So thank you guys very much. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Twisted Tentacle Inn. I'm your innkeeper, and today we'll be talking about Tasha's Mind Whip. So this spell is super good. It has a lot of things going on. First, it'll deal some damage. Whether the creature succeeds or fails in their saving throw, they're going to take a little bit of damage. It's not much, but it is right in the top, in my top 3 damage types, which would be psychic damage. So great damage type, a little bit of damage, not anything to, write home about. So you wouldn't be necessarily casting this spell for the damage. You want to cast it for its secondary effect, but it's nice that even if a creature succeeds their saving throw, at least you're doing a little bit of pretty good type of damage. Second thing that it has going on is that the range is 90 feet. That is fantastic. That is a range that helps you stay very far away from melee range and still be able to be impactful in combat. Third, it requires an intelligence saving throw. If you guys watch my wizard optimization guide, you know that intelligence saving throw is right up on top as far as the type of saving throw that I want to target with spells. So this is very ideal because most creatures from early levels all the way up to higher levels have very abysmal intelligence saving throws. Of course, there are exceptions like liches and wizards and stuff like that, but for the most part, intelligence is the stat you want to target because you're far more likely to land that spell than if you were to cast a spell that targets, say, Constitution. So once a creature fails a saving throw, a lot of stuff happens here. They're not able to take reactions until the end of their next turn. Of course, they take that psychic damage as well. And they can only take an action, a bonus action, or a move during their turn. So this is super impactful in terms of forcing the enemy to modify their tactics in a combat. So first of all, it's not going to be able to take attacks of opportunity because it can't take reactions. So say if the barbarian and the fighter are up in melee with the thing, they can go up to it, attack the creature, and then move away. And then on the creature's turn, it's going to have to make a decision. Do I move back up to the fighter and barbarian where that's all I'm going to get to do? So on their turn, they're right up in melee range again and beat it down again. Or make a ranged attack if it has one. If it doesn't have a ranged attack, the only other option is going to be to try and run away, to be honest. So that's really going to change things up for them. And it will really put the creature on the defensive. They're going to be in big trouble if you were to pull this off. And depending on the type of creature, this can really impact their action economy. I mean, if a creature normally gets 3 attacks and they have to choose the move on their turn because they have no other way to do anything else, you've essentially stopped them from making 2 additional attacks or 3 attacks against your group. If a creature normally could move up to your fighter, make 3 attacks on their turn, now they can only move up to your fighter and make no attacks. That is a significant impact on their action economy. Extremely impactful. And the spell only lasts 1 round, but since combats normally last between 3 and 4 rounds, that means that 25 to 33% of the combat, this creature's action economy is going to be impacted tremendously. That's huge if you really think about it in those terms. It also helps you come up with some really interesting tactics. For example, you can have the barbarian knock the creature prone, and then you can cast Mind Whip, and they're going to have to take either a beatdown on their turn or after their turn by staying on the ground and doing whatever else they wanted to do, and everyone's going to get advantage to hit them, or they're going to have to use their movement to stand up, and that's it. That's their turn. They can't attack. They can't do anything else. So it's really going to force them to make some decisions that they didn't want to have to make on their turn. And now that we're on that, knocking a creature prone is a great way to really maximize the benefits of Tasha's Mind Whip. So if you're doing a lot of really interesting party tactics and dynamics, if someone's able to knock the creature prone, then that's a great way to maximize this. The spell is also great for getting away from a creature. Generally, you're going to be further away since the spell has a 90-foot range, but your melee combatants may be in trouble, and you guys may be in over your heads, and you need a way to get away. Well, Tasha's Mind Whip is a great way to do that. You can cast Mind Whip, and then you can move. The rest of your party can move and dash away. They don't have to use the disengage action because the creature can't take attacks of opportunity. So they're going to move and then use their action to dash, so they'll get to move again. On the creature's turn, it'll probably choose to move, but it's not going to be able to dash. So it's going to widen that gap between you guys and this creature, so you'll be more likely to be able to get away from it if you do need to get away. So excellent way to maneuver different tactics within a combat, whether you are the aggressor or on the defense from a creature. It can really turn the tide in a battle. I've already had on several of my tables when I've been DM, people casting this spell and completely obliterating the bad guys because they just cast this on the boss. And I mean, it really does force you as a DM to change things up for your creature that is hit with this spell. So it's a very, very nasty spell to use against creatures. Another important aspect of this spell that's some people may overlook it when they first look at the spell is that it doesn't require concentration. That is huge. This means that you can have a concentration spell already up and then cast Tasha's Mind Whip without having to lose concentration, and it still can control the battlefield. A lot of battlefield control spells require concentration, so it's nice to get one that doesn't. So that's really fantastic. For example, you can cast, some other spell that requires concentration that'll lock down some enemies over here, and then also while you're holding that, still be able to cast Mind Whip on another creature or another set of creatures. You can cast spells like Grease. Grease, we were talking about the prone tactics earlier. Grease is a great spell because it's going to force them to make that dex save, and if they fall prone, Tasha's Mind with them, and that's it. They're out for quite a while because not only do they have to waste a turn standing up, but now they might fall again on their following turn, and they're in difficult terrain. Just so good. So really, really interesting spell, and even better, you can combine it with those concentration spells like I was saying. So Hold Person is a good one. You can cast Hold Person on one creature, and then Tasha's Mind Whip, another one. Now you've got two creatures that are pretty much controlled and taken out of the round. Or Slow is another great one. This one you can cast Slow on one creature and they're completely screwed. They get a save every round, but then you can also Tasha's Mind Whip this other creature. And again, just like Hold Person, completely affect the way the battle goes. And even better, when you upcast a spell, you can pick additional targets. So every spell level that you upcast this by, you can pick an additional target for Tasha's Mind Whip. So upcast as a higher level spell, you can potentially really just completely control the battlefield with this spell. As long as the creatures are within 30 feet of each other, you can do so. Kind of reminds me of Chain Lightning in that way. Chain Lightning has the same requirement. They have to be within 30 feet of each other. That's not that big of a deal. Generally, that is something that's not going to be hard to pull off, to be honest. So, great spell. I think that Tasha's Mind Whip is one of the better second level spells, right up there with Misty Step and that kind of thing. So, I really, really like this spell. If you're a wizard or a sorcerer, I think that now that this spell is out, you really need a reason to not take it versus a reason to take it. So if you have any other uses for it, I'd love to hear about it because this spell is still fairly new, so I haven't wrapped my head full around it yet, but I did want to make a video about some of the tactics that you can use it for and some of the things that it has going for it that may not be apparent on an initial look at the spell. Alright, so that does it for today's video. I do hope that it was helpful for you, and if it was, please consider clicking the like button. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down there in the comments down below. And I'm your innkeeper from the Twisted Tentacle Inn. Check in anytime. I'll talk with you then.
Oh, welcome, valued guest. You've caught me making the morning tea for one of our other valued guests. I'm just adding some special flavoring pills here for them. Yeah, it makes the tea taste much, much better. Just make sure not to tell them about this, about our little secret. Okay. And try not to bother the guests in room 237. They told me they were going to be sleeping for a very long time. I'm just going to take them this tea, a special flavoring I call eternal slumber.